Hello! Today I'm going to try to explain to you guys how to use Newsela.com to improve your reading instruction in the classroom. Today we're going to talk about how to log into Newsela, how to set up your classes in sync with Google Classroom, how to edit an article to match the reading level to your students' abilities, how to assign an article to your students, and also I'm going to explain the text sets feature, how to use that to find content that's relevant for your discipline, and also how to save your articles for next year. So let's get started. When you type in Newsela.com, you are going to get to a page like this, and you'll see the sign in button. So let's click this first. Now, our district has purchased a pro subscription, and with that, they have preloaded all of our Gmail accounts into Newsela so that all we have to do is click sign in with Google and we will be set. If this is your first time ever using Newsela, you may get to another screen here in a minute. So I'm going to click Ignacio Schools because that's the Gmail account. And if, again, like I said, if it's your first time logging in, there may be a couple of extra questions to prompt you for like what subject you teach and what grade level. It'll also ask you what school you work at. And once you type in our school name of Ignacio Middle School, then you will be all set to head to Pro. Up here at the top, they'll see your name and it will say Pro Subscriber. That means that you have full access to all the content that Newsela offers with the full abilities there. If you create an account and find out that you do not have the Pro Subscriber, come talk to me for some reason and we can fix that for you. So that's how you log in. Let's talk next about how to set up your classes for assigning articles to students. So if you go down here and click on the Classes tab of your profile, there are two ways to set up your digital classes. The first way, and probably the best way, is to sync your classes from Google Classroom. So on here you will see that I have synced my history class from 7th grade, all of my 6th grade geography classes. I have a test class to kind of play around with stuff in my 8th grade financial literacy. And all I have to do for that is push the sync button, and you will see that I have already checked the boxes for all of my classes to sync them. Now let's say that a new student joins our school halfway through the school year. If I add that student into my geography class and then click sync again, it will automatically update the roster and sync that kid and add it into my Newsela classroom. And you can see that it's working up here. It takes a couple seconds, and then once this ... goes away, you'll see that all of our rosters are updated and that we've all been synced. Now, if Google Classroom is not your thing, you don't have to jump on that train. You can create a class within Newsela. So if you go to Newsela Classes and click Create a Class, but you can create the name, so let's call this World History. Make it grade 7, subject, right there, and click create a class. So there it is. And then all I have to do is tell the students to go to Newsela.com on their computers, log in, and then type in this class code right here. Once they have typed that code in, they'll have joined my class, and then any articles that I assign them would show up on their page. If I've synced them from Google Classroom, there's no extra step for typing in a new code. Any article I assign would automatically show up at first. So Google Classroom is probably the easiest way to do this, but if you're not a fan, then you can use the Newsela class features. Next, we're going to talk about how to edit the article to adjust it for Lexile levels. And this is where Newsela really is an awesome program and why we purchased it. So I'm going to think of the next topic I want to teach, which is going to be mummification for ancient Egypt. And I click search. If I'm looking broadly, I'll keep it on this articles tab, and it will just pop up anything, keywords, sort of a database here, and it pulls from all different sources like National Geographic or other websites, as you'll find out. And I can skim through the headings You'll see some are labeled more for science, others for world history, um, science and math, war and peace. So they kind of give them these topical headings as well. I'm going to click on this one because this seems to hit the learning target that I would like to address. If I want to just post this article on my screen and not assign it to students individually, I can click this present mode and it will show the article on a big screen so I can read along with students. That's a nice feature that we have from this as well. If I want to add it to a text set that I've already created, once I read it, I can click this add to text set, and then that would add it to a folder that I've created for my class already, so I can save it for next year. Down here is where it gets really awesome. So here you can see this is the source is from ushistory.org, adapted by Newsela staff. The text level currently is a 6th grade level, and it adjusted it automatically because it knows I teach middle school. And I'm going to skim through this article, and I've already read this, but if I hadn't, I would read through it carefully and make sure it's what I wanted. I know that's what it is. It's got the mummification idea. It talks about the different steps in the process, which is always fascinating for kids to talk about. And yeah, it's a really good introduction or a summary of how they mummify people. I can adjust the text level up here, and there are 5 different levels that it's preloaded, different lexile levels, everything from 12th grade at the max to 3rd grade at the bottom. And these will all be available for my students to edit it themselves as they are going through. If I want to assign it, I would click on this button and I would click Create Assignment. I would select the class and I would send this to my world history class. And here's where I can play with the text level. So I'll click Adjust the Level. If I want to lock it at a certain level so that the students all see it's the same grade level, I can click 6th grade. And that means every kid would see it at grade 6 level. If I don't lock the selection, then each student can edit the article themselves to one of these 5 levels. They can drop it down if it feels too hard, or they can make it more difficult if it's too easy. So I'm not going to lock the selection because I want them to edit it themselves to their own levels. And then each article will automatically generate a 4-question quiz for the students. So I'm going to tell them to please read the article and answer the quiz questions. Quiz questions are often aligned with like PARC formatting and CMAS formatting, so it makes it a nice test review feature as well. If I click Assign, then this will be pushed out to all of the students in my 5th period class. You can see this got assigned twice because I made an error on my first recording of this video earlier tonight. So, but you can see that 0 to 20 viewed, and so this could be an assignment that once a student views it, you can see that it'll pop up that they have seen the article, for example, there. So that's how you assign an article to your students. Text sets. This is our last feature for tonight. A text set is a really useful tool at Newsela, and you can see that they've preloaded text sets for either by teachers, they may have teachers for grade levels or different topics. A common question that came up in our earlier training was, can this resource help in a math classroom? So let's try to explore that answer. If I click text sets for math, you will see that it will come up with all kinds of different article groupings around different topics with mathematics that could be helpful if you want to try to add some reading into your math class. So women in math, the history of math, careers in math, and you can see that each of these have a certain number of articles that are inside the text set or the grouping. Math and art connections, percents in the real world, reading graphs. So all of these things would be, maybe helpful for a math teacher to give some kind of real world context to math. There's even math in the real world. So these have been created by Newsela staff or other teachers for these disciplines. If I want to add an article to my text set, I can create my own. So I can make my own text sets. so I can save things for next year. As you can see, I've already made one for my history class and my geography class. So next year when I teach those again, I can come back to them and I've got them all saved there. So if you have any other questions about Newsela, please give me an email and I'd love to help you out. Thanks so much. Have a great night.